All right. So if it's illegal for foreigners to vote who are non-citizens, then there should be no reason for a foreign national to be on a voter roll. Very simple. Shouldn't be on there. Now, this means that the number of federal-only voters increased by 7,000, an increase of nearly 20% in just 3 months. See that? 20% in 3 months. What do you think they're doing? Juice in the polls! Richer also claimed that he's fully complied with the law. However, he's failed to transmit the list to the Attorney General. They're just not doing their job, and they're doing it to rig the election. Over 42,000 illegal aliens allegedly on the rolls here in the state of Arizona, pretty important swing state. And our friends at America First Legal are on the case. They filed a new lawsuit to stop illegal aliens from voting. It's gone against all 15 counties in Arizona. We're going to go through this because they keep telling us that our voter rolls are perfect here. And in all the other states, there's nothing wrong with anybody who's on the list, even though we don't require ID in many places around this country to even register to vote or to check citizen status against the federal registry. So here's what they're explaining happens. On July 17th, we sent letters on behalf of our clients demanding that election officials in 15 Arizona counties fulfill their legal obligations to prevent illegal aliens from voting, and warning them that if they failed to do so, they're going to pursue legal action. They sent this letter back in July. Then in August, they sued the Maricopa County Recorder on behalf of Strong Communities Foundation, which is a registered voter, for them blazingly refusing to comply with the law. And that was Stephen Richer, who we know is not going to be reelected. And then the claims were based on Arizona state laws that require the county recorders to do monthly voter list maintenance, right? Every month, go in, the law says, remove the foreign voters from the voter rolls. But nevertheless, they filed their complaint. Maricopa County, our bureaucratic hacks here, removed the case to federal court, saying that the case involved federal laws and that in the county's view, in Maricopa County's view, should be interpreted in federal court. Now, Maricopa County is notorious for employing these procedures to remove the case and to delay election cases and stop them from being heard. But their attempts here have backfired, all right? Arizona state court rules only allow for one county to be sued in a case like this, whereas in federal court, we can sue everybody, more than one county at one time. Now that we're in federal court, we've added 14 other counties to the list, buccos, so get ready for it. Saying two federal statutes have also been in effect for nearly 30 years. 8 U.S. Code 1373C and 8 U.S. Code 1644, they allow state and local officials to obtain information about citizenship or immigration status of any individual for any lawful purpose. And so they filed a complaint because Arizona is ignoring these tools. They're not cleaning the voter rolls. And according to them, there's something like 42,000 different people who are on this list. And so let's go through the complaint. Seen here, a lawsuit against the state of Arizona brought by Strong Communities Foundation of Arizona and Yvonne Cahill, courtesy of our friends at America First Legal, versus Stephen Richer, remember him, from Arizona. And this is brought demanding the cleaning up of the voter rolls. You see, we get into the introduction, and here's what they allege. They tell us, it's illegal for foreign citizens to register to vote, and 60% of Arizonans are also concerned that cheating is going to impact the outcome of the election. Absolutely true. Now, a July 2024 survey said that Arizona voters, and in 5 other states, said that a little more than 1% of likely voters say that they're not U.S. citizens. See that? So when they ask that question in the polls, you a likely voter? Yeah, sure. You a citizen though? No. Well, then why'd you say you're a likely voter? I didn't. Yeah, you did. Huh. And so it's a 1%. That's not that much, but it's enough. Talking 10,000 votes in various states. Many recent electoral races in Arizona have been decided by margins of less than 1%. In 2022 in Arizona, the legislature adopted a stricter voter list maintenance requirement for county recorders. Now, the legislature adopted these requirements so that people like Stephen Richer and county recorders would actually remove foreign citizens from voter lists to allay Arizonans' reasonable concerns about foreign citizen voting. So clean up our lists. And federal law also requires state and local officials, including county recorders, to perform voter list maintenance to ensure that voters who are not eligible to vote are in fact removed. But puzzlingly, what we see is that the secretaries like Richer and Jocelyn in other states have ignored these requirements. They have failed to take action to remove the illegals. Now, the failures cause voters to lose confidence in our election. A recent national survey found that 52% believe that election officials are doing nothing to prevent foreigners from voting in our election. Only 26% believe that they have plans to deal with this. And other lawsuits confirm that. Other their polls confirm it. So the lawsuit is now seeking to restore public trust in our elections. We know that there are some major organizations behind this. EasyAZ.org is interested in safe and secure elections, and we got multiple defendants. So all these are defendants: Cochise County, various counties around the valley, Gila County, Graham County, Greenlee County, La Paz, Mojave, Navajo, Pinal. Okay, all the various counties around Arizona. Jurisdiction, general allegations. Here's where they tell us what they're really upset about. They say, look, it's illegal for anybody to register to vote and to vote. All right. So if it's illegal for foreigners to vote who are non-citizens, then there should be no reason for a foreign national to be on a voter roll. Very simple. Shouldn't be on there. Now, Arizona and our law require people who register to vote to provide proof of citizenship. That's what the law says. But the Supreme Court has held that states may not impose voter registration requirements for registrants who use the voter registration form at the federal level, right? So they say, if you're on the state form, you in Arizona, you can check it. But if it's on the federal only form, Arizona, you can't modify that because it's a federal form. Now, because the National Voter Registration Act requires states to use the federal form, and because that form does not require proof of citizenship, the Supreme Court also held that the NVRA also forbids states from adding stuff to their forms that's not on the federal form. Oh, so Arizona, you want to check for illegals? Make sure they're citizens? Sorry, you can't do that. Got to use the federal form. We don't want to. You have to. Federal law says that, and we supersede you. However, because Arizona may establish its own requirements for state and local elections, and because state law does require proof of citizenship, registering to vote in state and local elections still requires proof of citizenship, right? So you can vote in Arizona if you're a citizen for both, but if you're not a citizen, you can only vote in federal elections. Now, therefore, Arizona has a unique system, bifurcated system of voter registration, where voters who have registered without providing citizenship, they become federal only voters. They can still get a form, and they're allowed to vote in primary and general elections for candidates running in federal races. People can get a federal ballot without having to provide citizenship proof. According to Arizona's Secretary of State, as of April 1, 2024, we've got 35,273 registered voters of Arizona who do not have proof of citizenship and therefore are registered to vote in federal races. 34,000 people. No proof of citizenship. Maybe they are citizens. Why don't they prove it? According to the Arizona Secretary of State, as of July 1st, the number of federal only voters was 42,000 people, all going to get ballots. None of them have proved that they're citizens. Now, this means that the number of federal only voters increased by 7,000, an increase of nearly 20% in just 3 months. See that? 20% in 3 months. What do you think they're doing? Juice in the polls. The number of federal only voters in each defendant county increases each month because they're just going. Just register, guys. That's what all these people out. Just register, register, register. I was at the MVD the other day. Register to vote, register to vote, register to vote, register to vote. Everywhere. The number of federal only voters in each defendant county increases each month. Weird how that happens. Why are they registering all of these people without any proof of citizenship? For example, on July 1st, when Maricopa County disclosed its report, there were only 26,000. July 1st, just a few months ago. But now there's been an increase, and that was up 4,500 from April. This means that in just 3 months, the federal only voters have increased an astounding 21%. Cheaters, cheaters, cheaters. And that's their numbers. Now, the Supreme Court also held that the NVRA does not preclude states from denying registration based on their possession establishing the applicant's ineligibility. Now, nor does the court's decision prohibit states from engaging in voter list maintenance procedures. And so there's other things that we can do here. Maybe if we can't use the forms, we are still allowed to deny registration based on information that established the applicant's ineligibility. So despite its prohibition on requiring evidence of citizenship, okay, so yeah, they're saying, look, the Supreme Court was not very clear on this. They says you can't ask for citizenship info on the form, but that's it. They didn't say that you couldn't find other information to determine their citizenship status. And so we have now come up with other remedies. In fact, in 2022, Governor Ducey from Arizona signed a new bill that amends the election statutes to impose strict voter list maintenance requirements for federal only voters. Those requirements mandate that county recorders perform monthly list maintenance to confirm the citizenship of all federal only voters. So all 42,000 of those people. Now they have failed to perform this maintenance. Law says you have to. They're saying, no, we don't want to. Those are our voters. Those requirements also require require county recorders to perform list maintenance within 10 days for all newly required federal-only voters to verify their citizenship. They just say, no, form is good enough. The defendants have failed to perform this list maintenance. One obstacle to performing this is that the Secretary of State, called Adrian Fontes, has neglected to obtain access for list maintenance to the 3 databases that require to consult in order to verify citizenship. He's not even connecting the tubes. Hey, you got to go check against these databases. He's like, I'm not signing up. You have to, I sent you the email. I'll send that again. Oh, it got in my spam. He's not signing up for DHS. He's not signing up for SAVE. He's not signing up for Social Security. He's not looking into it, any of it. However, state and federal law impose additional list maintenance, and it requires that they shall use all available resources. Go look these people up and kick them off the rolls. State law also requires county recorders at a minimum shall compare this information. The law says you have to do this stuff. They're just not doing it. They're not enforcing the law. They're not following the law. Now they write, the possibility of foreign citizens registering to vote is not hypothetical, okay? It's not just like 1 in a million. State and local election officials who proactively search for foreign citizens who are registered to vote find them when they look. For example, in 2021, the state of Texas removed over 6,500 potential foreign citizens from its rolls. Of those 6,500 foreign citizens, 1,900 actually voted. Similarly, Alabama just identified and purged 3,200 foreign citizens. In Ohio, they've identified 597 citizens. 138 of them actually voted. Non-citizens actually voted. Shocking. On August the 7th, Glenn Youngkin also issued an executive order because they removed 6,300 non-citizens from the voter rolls. Now, even if they consulted these databases, they're still insufficient to identify this stuff. A lot of this is just necessarily cumbersome. They know if these people are citizens or not, but nobody wants to actually answer the question because everybody's kind of happy with them here. Both parties are. The citizens aren't, but the parties are. So Social Security, they say, yeah, county recorders don't actually have enough access to this. Even if they did, that would be insufficient to verify the citizenship status of these people. So a lot of good details here, but there is an easy method to confirm the citizenship. All they have to do is go to DHS. The House Judiciary Committee explained this as well. The House Conference Report explained this as well. DHS has the capability to verify an individual status without using any of this complicated stuff. They can do it easily, quickly and easily with a name and date of birth. It's the federal government. I mean, they've got databases on everything except Hillary's emails. This means that right now, DHS can answer all the questions. Just send them the list of 40,000 people. Are they on there or not? The citizenship information, they're entitled to this under Arizona law, and they're not even communicating, okay? They're supposed to draft the list and check it. Check it twice, but they're not doing it. County Recorder Stephen Richer, he says, I have no legal authority to do this. That claim is false. Richer also claimed that the Federal District of Arizona had ruled against this. He says, no, you can't do this. You can't look in those databases. That's violating Voter Rights Act. False. He's specifically not doing his job. Richer also claimed that he's fully complied with the law. However, he's failed to transmit the list to the Attorney General. They're just not doing their job, and they're doing it to rig the election. And so all of these are the counts, right? Failure to consult accessible databases. You violated Arizona law. They want declaratory injunctive relief. Arizona says, at minimum, give us a list and compare and contrast it to see if they're citizens or not, and they're not doing that. So failure to send information is another count. Voter list maintenance procedures that are not discretionary. They have to do these things. They're not doing these things. So our friends at America First Legal are now demanding, they want a declaration that they actually do these things. This is what the law says about this. This is what they're supposed to do. Check the federal databases. They're supposed to check their proof of citizenship. They've got an ongoing duty to do this and do it. They also want attorney's fees and any other relief that the court deems proper in a great filing from America First Legal. Shout out to our friends James Rogers over there, senior counsel, and Jennifer Wright. Hey, right down the street in Arizona, Phoenix. All right, so a nice one in Arizona. Pretty incredible. We know that there are a big group of people, a big bucket of voters that haven't provided proof of citizenship yet, and they're bringing them in hand over fist. Here, just vote for Kamala. Here you go. Because by the time any of this gets done, right, by the time you have all those Department of Homeland Security government workers checking the spreadsheets, election's going to be over, and they're all going to vote accordingly. So that's why it needs to be way too big to rig, my friends. That's why we're going to be voting and dragging everybody we've ever known, loved, met, or seen, or spoken to the polls to vote appropriately. And we hope you do the same.